Welcome ladies and gentlemen to the status report from the 16th of February 2016. And in this status report we'll have Brian, lead producer, Peter, lead designer, and Victor, lead animator, inform us on the latest work being conducted as we move closer to the 060 update. With PAX South behind us, we're looking ahead to 6.0 and the steps towards 1.0 that are taken within it. We've discussed our intent to have a 6.0 build in the hands of the consumers at the end of February, and while that still is our goal, we'll have to see how bug fixing and implementation go over the coming weeks to see if that means stable branch or experimental. As we've discussed before, part of the 6.0 build is our initial implementation of the new renderer, operating off of DX11. Now, while keeping in mind this will be the first build of this in the hands of the early access user base, Hicks is still cautiously very optimistic. The engine programming team are hard at work squashing a large chunk of visual and optimization related bugs, but even with those said bugs present, we're seeing some excellent performance gains across Churnerus. While it may not be quite ready for regular gameplay on the consumer branches, internal QA and engine dev team are working hard at polishing the stone, so to speak. Even with the current internal DX11 client running with anti-aliasing, alpha coverage, edge smoothing, clouds and post-processing disabled, the improvement of visual fidelity versus the legacy DX9 client is clearly visible. Here are two images from Starry Sober to use as comparison, one taken from DX9 legacy max settings and the other taken from DX11 low settings. Tasks completed with the new renderer are detailed terrain shadows, parallelization, initial simu-weather true sky implementation, and current focuses are optimization, lights, finalizing simu-weather and true sky, bug fix, bug fix, bug fix. Past the work on the new renderer technology, the design and art teams are working on the initial art skinning for the main menu, server browser, and inventory screen, while the gameplay programming team works on finishing implementation of requested functionality and bug fixing. Hicks is personally excited for changes in the central economy coming with 6.0, as the dev team has spent time triaging the root cause of repeated grouped item spawns and improper distribution globally. Thanks to outstanding help on the feedback tracker ticket from Sacriel and his viewer base, we've greatly improved the global item saturation and drastically dropped occurrences of item spawns repeating within a cluster of structures. As well as the above mentioned changes, the discussed randomization of vehicle part attachments has been iterated upon, and the tech passed on to include firearms and their attachments. What does this mean for the average survivor wandering across Churnerus? Each weapon has a chance to spawn with random attachments fitting its configuration. In addition to its base attachments, the more varied the weapon's potential attachments, the more random the potential configuration, e.g. an M4 with a BUIS sight, OE handguard, and 40-round magazine, etc. In addition to this change in how weapons are spawned, magazine initial spawn capacity is now controlled dynamically via the central economy control. This allows the development team to set the initial ammo quantity for magazines to a lower value, thus increasing the global quantity of magazines. But enough about the economy. As we continue to bug fix and optimize the new renderer and user interface technology in preparation for 6.0, we'll keep the information coming on how it is performing, how it's looking, and how it is expected to function. Communication is one of the strongest direct player interactions in DayZ. The voice in particular is key to rich and immersive experience. Volume, intonation, articulation, and content of the message creates a wide scale of emotion and opens DayZ up to great possibilities for players. With that in mind, it's quite clear that providing more variety in voice communication will add to emergent gameplay. We can divide voice communication in DayZ into two groups: direct speech, which can be amplified, and indirect speech, which can be transmitted via radio transmissions. Direct speech is pretty clear, and with amplification done with the help of a megaphone, it can be quite fun. However, indirect speech is where all the real fun begins. Unlike traditional and classic DayZ personal radio transmitters with a limited range, you can get your hands on portable radio transmitters, which can range across the entire map, so survivors can coordinate all operations within Churnerus, while remaining safe in a secure or hidden location. More interesting, there will be static radio stations where players can interfere with and hijack frequencies, or transmit a crucial message over long distances to allies. Radio stations will be located more or less in the middle of the map, on top of the Altair Hill, so it will be fairly easy to trek to, no matter where you are. To go even further, you can use public address systems with amplifiers locally in towns and villages. We are still considering extending radio cassette recording use past the playback of online radios, perhaps adding the ability to record voice messages on tape. This would not be an easy task to tackle right now, but we'll see. Our aim is to make usage of transceivers as simple as possible. For example, no need for a push-to-talk mechanic. Simply ensure the device is on and transmitting on the selected frequency once the battery is attached or connected to a running power generator. One set of universal frequencies will help survivors keep from getting lost, or find the right one you want to listen to or transmit on. Transmitted signals on the same frequency are simply mixed together via the receiver, so the frequency works much like a conference call. The environment profile and structures won't block signals, and these signals will propagate without the need for repeaters. The animation team is busy with many things related to the new animation system. Just recently we managed to implement in our animation graph and preview tool, arming and disarming of rifles, and two-handed items in a much more detailed way than previously. As you may know, players have always been able to pull out a gun while moving forward only, and there was an actual full-body animation which had to complete itself once started. Obviously this led to many situations where one should lose control of their character. This was a big problem if, say, you were doing an animation near a building edge or a sharp drop. This was because of limitations in how the whole animation system worked. In our new working prototype, we are now able to arm anything, almost any time, without the need to complete a full body animation. For instance, if you are standing and unsling a rifle, you can simultaneously begin to move vice versa, while moving players can unsling a rifle, stop in your tracks, and the animation will complete itself, with the upper body only. You can even change stance to crouch while taking out your weapon. This is possible due to the recent introduction of additional blending and the ability to override body part animations that aren't attached to additional animations. That said, although the basic functionality of arming is done on the animation side, we still have small adjustments and fixes to get rid of some unwanted issues. Our next task ahead in this area is also implementing some changes in how ladders work and focusing on improvement of basic character locomotion by adding responsiveness and enhancing dynamics. And that's all for this week's status report highlight for the 16th of February 2016. But as always I have a little bit extra, so here's images of the Scout, the Groza, the Mini Uzi, and a new injured walking animation if you've missed them. As always I recommend you read the status reports in full for yourselves for the most amount of information that they hold. All links are in the description below, as well as for DayZ TV for your latest DayZ news and information. And I'll see you peeps next time.